The Republic of Korea is located at the eastern end of Asia. Korea suffered through Japan's colonial rule in the early 20th century and was divided during the Cold War era. Today, it has emerged as an economic power. Korea is the only country in the world that has transformed itself from an aid recipient to a donor nation. 새마을운동 was Korea's driving force behind overcoming such difficulties and its unprecedented development. 새마을운동 is now a heritage for the world, gaining a place on UNESCO's memory of the World Register. Korea was liberated from Japan's colonial rule in 1945. However, the 3 years of the Korean War left the Korean peninsula divided and devastated people's lives. Per capita income was a mere $79. The Korean people were frustrated by such extreme poverty. In 1962, the first 5-year economic development plan was launched. Thanks to industrialization, Korea achieved an annual average growth rate of around 10%. Those in rural households, representing more than half of the nation's population, did not see any tangible improvements in their lives. The income gap between urban and rural areas only worsened. In the summer of 1969, Korea suffered severe damage from flooding. President Park Chung-hee was on his way to Busan to encourage the recovery effort when a village captured his attention. The village used to suffer flood damage every year, but people worked together to improve the village environment. 새마을운동 on April 22, 1970. In the early days of 새마을운동, the government proposed the village development project to improve the living conditions in rural areas. It provided every one of over 33,000 villages with 335 sacks of cement free of charge and allowed residents to select and implement the project without government interference. Roofs and mud fences, the symbols of poverty disappeared. With wider roads and new bridges, the villages changed day by day. Such changes inspired a can-do and will-do spirit in the villagers. In 1973, the government divided the villages into 3 categories of basic village, self-help village, and self-reliance village, depending on their levels of development. Government differentiated the support upon the principle of preferential support for outstanding villages. Rural environment improvement projects were expanded every year. The rural living environment was modernized, providing more convenience, and community facilities and amenities were built. Such projects, which produced tangible results, were followed by income-increasing projects. The government provided support to increase farmers' incomes. It distributed new high-yield rice seed and maintained rice prices at high levels. Conventional farming that focused on staple grains like rice and barley was changed to combined farming. Farmers began to grow special crops, such as mushrooms and tobacco and fruit trees. They were also able to produce fresh vegetables even in the winter with the introduction of vinyl greenhouses. An increasing number of farmers raised livestock and silkworm for higher profits. Sämaul factories were built to provide jobs to women in rural areas. Such non-farming incomes helped increase total household incomes. Based on its success in rural areas, 새마을운동 was expanded from 1974 to cities, workplaces, factories, and schools from 1974. 새마을운동 is a movement for a better life, benefiting both the present and future generations and leading our society and nation in a better direction. 새마을운동 is an action-oriented movement that changes people's mindsets. People develop can-do spirits and positive views by experiencing the results of their own efforts. 새마을운동 spirits are diligence, self-help, and cooperation. Diligence is the virtue of hard work. Self-help means that people take ownership of their lives and explore their future on their own. Cooperation means going beyond oneself with a sense of community, focusing on us, not me. In 1971, the government evaluated the first year of the 새마을 projects and found that every successful village had a dedicated leader. As such, 새마을 education focused on changing village leaders' mindsets and attitudes to improve their capabilities. The educated leaders played a leading role in promoting 새마을 projects by encouraging local residents. 새마을 education was not only a catalyst in accelerating 새마을운동, but a driving force in developing and spreading the movement. The education targeted male and female leaders in rural communities at first, but soon expanded its scope to civil servants, including ministers and vice ministers, businessmen, journalists, and religious leaders. In the early stages, 새마을운동 was led by the government, but each village was granted autonomy. Back then, the Ministry of Home Affairs took charge of 새마을운동, and the Central Council of 새마을운동 was established for inter-ministerial consultation and coordination. Each city, provincial, and county government had its own division to support 새마을운동 and a promotional council. In particular, each town level up and Myeon formed an implementation council composed of the local agency heads and 새마을 leaders to promote 새마을운동. Each village had a development committee led by 새마을 leader and a village head. First and foremost, 새마을운동 contributed substantially to increasing the incomes of rural residents. Korea also achieved the self-sufficiency of staple grains in 1975. In particular, farmers' household income exceeded that of urban workers in 1974. Environment improvement projects built about 3 kilometers of road and more than 2 bridges for each village. Life in rural areas changed dramatically, with more community facilities, improved living conditions, and access to electricity and telephone services. Above all, 새마을운동 helped people overcome defeatism and fatalism, and develop more positive mentality of a can-do and will-do spirit. Women's active participation in 새마을운동 not only brought about change and development of the villages, but enhanced women's roles and status. 새마을운동 became more relevant to people's real lives. The success factors of 새마을운동 are as follows. First, the government provided systematic support and guidance based on the president's strong political commitment to promote 새마을운동. Second, the villagers participated in the movement voluntarily by electing leaders and selecting projects on their own. Third, the movement focused on nurturing dedicated leaders. Fourth, effective implementation strategy was carried out by providing preferential support for outstanding villages. Lastly, 새마을 projects were implemented at the village level, where a community membership and traditional culture of mutual help prevail. In 1960, Korea's per capita income was a mere $79. However, we have succeeded to overcome fatalistic poverty and to develop national confidence of a can-do and will-do spirit through 새마을운동. We have created a dynamic society by extending the experiences and lessons from rural development to all areas of the society. Now, 새마을운동 aims to contribute to the world's prosperity in the global era. We hope that Korea's successful experience of 새마을운동 will become a seed of hope for all people around the world.